Welcome to the Parks and Recreational Advisory Board for Monday, January 12th, 2026. The City of Gladstone is abiding by guidelines set forth in House Bill 2560, which requires the governing body of the public body to extent reasonably possible to make all meetings accessible remotely through technological means and provide opportunity for members of the general public to remotely submit oral and written testimony during meetings to extent in-person oral and written testimony is allowed. Therefore, this meeting will be open to the public, both in person and virtually using the Zoom platform. Kristen, do you want self-introductions today, or do you want to call the roll?
Let's do introductions.
Okay, so if I can get the board to introduce themselves. Kate, would you start?
Kate Cornelius.
Kim Agramson.
Eric Butler.
Nancy Turner.
Bruce Hildreth.
Manuel Pacheco. Manuel Pacheco.
Ian Moore.
Thank you. And we'd all like to welcome Manuel tonight. It's his first meeting. Welcome to the Parks Board. Okay. Our first order of business tonight is to select a chairman and a co-chair. So at this point, I'd open it up to anyone who would like to make nominations, or if someone has a desire to be one of those two posts.
I would like to nominate Kate for president or chairman, excuse me.
Okay, we have Kate. Kate, is that something you're comfortable with?
I would like to nominate Nancy and note that I would be very open to vice chair again this year.
Okay. Would anyone else like to make a motion? Was that you saying no to presidency?
Slightly.
Okay. Okay. Do we have another nominee, or?
Nancy, how do you feel?
I'm good with this. I am. Kate and I had talked about this, so. Sorry, Bruce. Anyone else? Okay. We have a motion for Nancy Turner to continue as chairman. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Ian will second.
Okay, we have a second by Ian and also by Eric. Proceed with the vote.
Yep.
Kristen, thank you.
Kate Cornelius.
Yes.
Kim Agramson.
Yes.
Eric Butler.
Yes.
Nancy Turner. Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay.
Bruce Hildreth.
Yes.
Ian Moore.
Yes.
And Manuel Pacheco.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And now we need to elect someone to be a vice chair. Do we have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Kate.
Do we have any other nominations or anyone else who wants that position? We have a motion made by Bruce Hildreth for Kate to be co-chair. Do we have a second?
This is Eric. I second.
Okay, we have a second made by Eric Butler. Proceed with the vote, please.
Kate Cornelius.
Abstain.
Kim Agramson.
Yes.
Eric Butler.
Yes.
Nancy Turner.
Absolutely.
Bruce Hildreth.
Yes.
Manuel Pacheco.
Yes.
And Ian Moore.
Yes.
I want to keep calling him Manny.
I know, I know.
So I start to say it and then
It like just comes out.
sorry.
Terrible. Next on the agenda is approval of the October 13th meeting notes. Do we have any corrections or concerns about those?
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago. They did, however, come in your packet. So did anyone see any change?
Kate motions to approve. It looked good to me.
Okay, we have a motion made by Kate.
Ian seconds.
And Ian's going to second those, so we can proceed with the.
Great. Kate Cornelius.
Yes.
Kim Agramson.
Yes.
Eric Butler.
Yes.
Nancy Turner.
Yes.
Bruce Hildreth.
Yes.
Manuel Pacheco.
Yes.
And Ian Moore.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to business from the staff. Silas, it's all yours.
Thank you, Nancy and board. Happy to be here. It's been a bit since we've met. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. But I'm here to start off with the agenda item of just kind of a general update, what we've been working on over the past couple of months, projects, repairs, what's going on. Within your packet, there's a staff report. And I think the first order of business is to talk about how we survived the rain and high water, which we did survive, and we survived very well. Citywide, I would say, but parks, we did have some trail closures that happened. Cross Park was one of those, as well as Doll Beach. And the boat ramp fared well, but the water did come up in the parking lot, and there was quite a bit of debris. And boat ramp issues continued on, I think, the most after the rains, just because the Willamette took a couple days to kind of catch up. But the Clackamas did reach what they call major flood stage, which is about 46 feet. I don't know if anybody got down to look at it, but it was pretty impressive to see that amount of water flowing through. So I'm happy to say that crews were out the next day. I think the majority of the rain was Thursday. By Friday, crews were out, had things closed off, responding to public inquiries while they're out and about. But that's one major thing that we moved through. We've also been taking care of their routine refuse pickup and bathroom maintenance. That's continuing at least twice a week. We're averaging about 70 large construction size bags of garbage a week. We're doing a little bit of mowing and leaf removal, but that's pretty much tapered out now. We've had some trees come down that we've had to address. We cleared a fairly large homeless or houseless camp, however you want to term that, at Meldrum Bar Park. There was about 2,300 pounds of garbage that were removed just from the one camp. It was quite large. And then, like I said, there was a couple days worth of work just to kind of clean up all the debris. Had a pretty good, what is it, a ramp, not a ramp, but what am I like? Dock. Thank you, Kristen. That floated down that Clackamas County Boat Patrol hooked up and asked if we could remove for them out of the Willamette. So we got that removed, but it was some work, and the crews did an amazing job through it all. Routine wise, we're starting a lot of seasonal pruning, mainly at Meldrum. We're going to be doing quite a bit of seasonal planting. I know we'll be working, I believe in February with Eric's group doing some planting at I've escapes my name. Sorry, Eric. Is it Clackamas Watershed? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Clackamas River Basin Council.
Thank you. I know we're set up to do that at Cross, and then we've got some plantings that we've been doing at Meldrum Bar, mainly with just cuttings, but we've also done some tree plantings in various areas, as much as we can. There's been some plumbing issues we've been dealing with, winterization, door issues. People just want to get into the restrooms when the doors are locked, which is kind of doing a lot of damage to our locking mechanisms, which are showing their age. So we're looking at updating some of our locking mechanisms that are kind of a solenoid actuated electric lock. Also during these winter months, we tend to do a lot of equipment prep. So we'll change oil, change belts, change blades, bearings and things on our mowers as much as we can in-house, or we'll contract that out as well. And then there's some pressure washing that we'll be doing in the parks, things like concrete pads and splash pad and things during this downtime. I'll call it just winter months where there's not as much turf maintenance. But turf maintenance wise, we'll be starting some aeration and some fertilization here soon to get ready for spring soccer, which that and other things that come up throughout the days, but that's pretty much what our crews have been busy with within the parks. next agenda item I have is just to kind of let you know that we've been talking to, I guess, the stakeholders in the parks, meaning the associations that we have contacts with, which is Gladstone Soccer, Gladstone Baseball and Softball. We'll be setting up a meeting with the pickleball group, and it's just to kind of go over our annual agreements, so we're all on the same page of what we can provide as far as the goods and services throughout the year, contacts, who to contact for help, the process that's involved there, and then talk about tournaments, kind of when those are going to happen and what's needed to make them happen and things. So it's been going well. It went well last year, and it's just something we do annually. But we started those. Had our first with Gladstone Soccer, and got some really good feedback from that group. So looking forward to the spring and summer, even though it's January. Okay.
Quick question. Gladstone Soccer put a little storage shed out last year, right? Any feedback on that? Were they happy with how that went? Are they doing it again?
Yes, they'll be doing it again. It's very helpful. They asked to do that, and I think it was a good success for them to be able to store what they needed.
Great.
Yep. Softball and baseball do the same things. They bring in sheds and a couple containers as well. So, yeah, so those meetings are going well. And with that, I wanted to mention that we're already starting to get special events permits. We got one today for Solve, which is an annual cleanup that they do down at Melgen Bar. That'll be on May 6th this year. But just saw that permit today. I think I mentioned it in my emails correspondence, but the grant that Michelle Prusso helped us fill out regarding the dog park, I believe the grant was to T-Mobile. Unfortunately, it didn't get awarded, but we're going to try again, and we're still looking at other options for dog parks. So it's something that's on my ongoing to-do list. Just had a meeting today about the reservations at Max Patterson. Got some really good feedback from residents. More people were really happy that we initiated the program last year. And I don't think there were too many issues other than a few little hiccups with navigating the website, which can still be a little challenging, but I think most of the people are used to and comfortable with how to make reservations. So we're going to do it again this year. There will be no fees again this year. We are planning on starting it officially Memorial Day and ending on Labor Day. In 2025, we weren't able to track May, but we know for sure that we had over about 199 or more reservations that were tracked. So a lot of people using the shelters down there, which is great. The recommendations that we got were, and we're going to do this, we'll make some signs to kind of clearly ID which shelter. So we're going to number one, shelter number 1 and shelter number 2. And then also we're going to try to get a printout of the weekend schedule. I believe, Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, is it like 6 time periods in a day? I believe it's 6 time periods in a day. You can block out a 3-hour block of time. So we're hoping to have that posted by Friday at the park. And then on that side, also have a QR code where people can access the website and kind of get to that as well. So we'll see how that rolls out this year, but those are our to-do items for the reservations. But all in all, I think it went well, and we got some really good feedback from people, telling us they're happy that we started the program. So we'll just see where it goes from here. We do know that there's software that can do this and have a little bit better. I mean, unfortunately, there's right now, it's kind of dependent on people to, approve. So if you make a reservation, then somebody actually has to approve it. If we ever get the software, obviously it'll be able to do it internally in the software and make sure people get a reservation. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that happening again, and we'll be rolling that out, probably putting some news on the website here soon. So, lastly in the packet and I believe Christian will bring it up on the screen. We can do the nature park, so you can show them kind of the footprint, I guess. Or you want to talk about the budget?
I'm starting to wonder if I actually put your little drawing on my.
Oh, well, that's okay. If you didn't,
No, I think I did. I just need to find it here really quick.
it's okay.
Hold on a second.
One of the requests that I had from Nancy was to kind of show some drawings of the what we're anticipating on putting for the restroom and the shelter at the nature park. By the way, the nature park, thanks for everybody attending that could make it to the ribbon cutting. It's a really fun event, really good event. So thank you everybody that was there for the trail ribbon cutting. It didn't rain, I know, it was amazing.
So in order to do your image, it's gonna make me install software, which.
Okay, that's okay. You don't need to do
Probably
it.
not a good idea.
So does,
Which one do you want?
do you have it in the packet? Okay, so there's a couple different drawings. I believe there's 4. So starting with the restroom, there's 3 drawings that pertain directly to the restroom. Romtech is the company that makes them. And what you see is kind of what we're anticipating we're going to install. I believe they're pre-made. There'll be 2 units that are going to be a unisex. You know, the architectural design will kind of have that, what do they call that? That board. Pardon? Yeah, it's all cement, but it'll have some relief to it and have some different architectural features. This is proposing drinking fountains, which I know we talked about, so that's in the bid. So I'm anticipating that they'll have 2 drinking fountains there. As you can kind of see, the A1.1 is a, you know, kind of what is going to be interior of the restrooms. So you'll have basically a toilet, a sink, a hand dryer, and then in between them is the mechanical chase where it'll have the hot water tank and power. And then we'll be able to probably store a few things in there. So that door will be on the back side, I'll call it. And then there'll be, looks like 2 light fixtures on the unit itself, or 3, actually 4, excuse me. 3 on the front and 1 on the back. So I think for light pollution, I did recommend that we have them really low light, but there will be light there, even though we're planning on having them closed after dusk and whatnot. The same is true for the drawing of the shelter. There's only 1 drawing. It's A2.1. Again, pretty open trellis style.
But there's also this one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, right? So it's up on the screen. So that'll be the shelter. As you can see, it's 25 feet wide by 36 feet in length. Looks like it's over 8 feet from finished grade of concrete to the beam. It's all going to be a steel structure, but it does have some architectural, I guess, neatness to it. As far as as you can see, looks like just an open truss. Metal roofs. We talked about trying to have a couple light fixtures in the shelter. Since there'll be, I've seen some plans so the drawing that Kristen was talking about was I took a photo from our GIS and basically put a polygon where we're anticipating they're going to go. And as you all know, the nature park where the existing kind of kiosk shelter is, that's more or less where the restroom will go. And then right next to it, I guess heading west, I'll call it, would be where the shelter is. And then in the parking lot, there's 2 parking spaces that will pave just for handicap. So there'll be 2 handicap with a little bit of pavement that goes over to the existing trail. Design wise, the footprint will have a kind of construction fencing around it. I've seen on the plans, and we'll probably put a temporary path that kind of goes towards the apartment complex in the existing fence line so that people can go around it and still see the activity. But we'll talk more about that as we get more details. But the plans are probably at about a 60% for the actual design. It's going to be the biggest part of the work will be the utilities. because they're gonna have to do an excavation, a ditch from that point down to Webster. And the rock material might be kind of, we don't know yet if it's gonna be a lot of rock excavation, which means they have to jackhammer and take some of that basalt out, but we'll see. Speaking of that, I'll be reaching out to FogNet, but within this, either this week or first of next week, we'll be doing some technical work where they will do some pits. And then they'll backfill them, but it'll be basically from the point of the structures down through the parking lot to Webster Road. But yeah, that'll probably be the most, because the structure itself is basically just concrete pads, which will be some excavation, but not as much as the actual ditch line for the utilities. And it'll be power, wastewater, water to Webster, and then the stormwater line will go more towards the apartments. There's a stormwater line back there, actually the manhole that we'll be tying into from the plans I've seen. So the RFP is being feverishly worked on. It's a lot more intricate than the trail because of the trades that go along with the structures, meaning electrical, plumbing, things like that. So there's a lot more documentation and instructions and stuff for companies to do the work, but 3J is handling that for us, and Sissel Engineering is handling the plans, so it's in the works, and I'm hoping that by the end of January, 1st of February, we'll have it ready to be able to put out as an RFP for advertising, but that's a wish. It may be more like mid-February, but it is in the works. And that's the update I had for that. Any questions? Yeah, Nancy?
Do you want to go ahead?
Just going back to the, this is Bruce Hill.
Yeah.
So Silas, going back to the bathrooms and pulling in all the utilities, and I was really pleased to see there's going to be drinking fountains. I think that's a nice thing. I hope people will just use them for what they are.
Yeah.
I know that if there's an outside spigot that can be accessed, that the FogNap group would really appreciate that. Do you think that's going to be?
That's something I'm gonna work on. It probably won't be part of the building. It would be something separate that maybe we tee off
Okay.
and do something internally if we've got the ability or money, or at least stub it out, Bruce, for future.
Okay.
So we'll have the water and then have a stub out there that we can either come back in and tie a
Okay.
hose bib or something.
Yeah.
I've heard that request, so I'll do my best to make that happen.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Great. Good. Thank you.
Yep. Nancy?
Yes. So clarify for me, the doors going into the bathroom. Is that facing Webster, or is it facing the park or the parking lot?
Facing the parking lot, more or
Okay.
less.
All right.
It'll kind of be in line with the existing
Trail.
trail,
thing. Okay.
in
great.
alignment with that, I would
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Okay. And then you did talk about outside lighting. So power outlet on the building,
I don't think,
on the outside.
I don't know if there'll be anything on the outside, but I'm sure we can make something on the inside work, and then you'd have to maybe bring a extension cord or something if we're
Because I
doing.
know if someone's going to teach a class or
The,
do
the,
something, a power.
the power will be there, so again, that's something maybe I'll try to work on getting conduit run over for some point at the shelter, I think is what you're talking, maybe having some power at the shelter or something. Those are still things we need to talk about, details
Okay.
and stuff.
All
And
right. Okay. Thank
we'll-
you. Yeah, I
we'll-
think that would be a really, I understand not putting them on the outside of the building or not being able to lock them somehow. But yeah, making them accessible for people who might want to rent that or teach a class or
Sure.
something going on down there.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic idea. All I can do is ask, and if it comes in within the budget,
Then
I'll
we'll-
do my best to make that stuff happen.
That'd be great.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I think that's it. Unfortunately, we're still hounding the company about Nick Shannon. We're now starting to look to see if there's another company that's a Sourcewell company. But they're just super busy this time of year. Kristen's been emailing them. I think it's time to just kind of call and see, and we'll do some more, but it's definitely on our agenda as well. We're doing our best to get some results. So I'm hoping that by our next meeting in February, we'll have something more to report there and move forward. So.
Silas?
Yes.
Bruce again. So talking about Nick Shannon and then getting requests for the work. Uh, I gotta believe you guys talk with other park districts. North Clackamas being the closest, and they've put up a lot of new play structures and stuff. Are they just using the same single company?
You know, I don't know, Bruce. Honestly, I haven't looked into that. You know, I mean, forgive me, but
No,
I've been here a full year. I'm happy to report. So, Parks is pretty new to me, and believe it or not, there's other things that go on throughout the day, as you were well aware.
no,
So I'll definitely.
I was,
No, absolutely. I'll definitely call them.
yeah.
The thing with the Sourcewell is we know that we've got a limited budget, and we know that they're going to give us the best value
Yeah.
because they're going to, you know, for what we want, right? Yes, please, Kristen.
Our park supervisor is actually a past employee there at North Clackamas, and I spoke with him, and he said that they actually schedule that stuff like 3+ years in advance for purchases of those types of things, and orders are placed 18 months to 24 months in advance. So Milwaukee also said the same thing, that those are all things that when they start with their planning and their parks board, that is something that they do, like staff does, before they get a lot of comments. So we're a little reversed on it,
Well,
but
thank you. I mean,
yeah, because I was having a hard time and he was like, of course you are.
yeah. No, it's good to know, and then we're not sitting here scratching our heads.
If I had my way, we'd have playgrounds on every corner, but there's just not a lot of demand for playgrounds. So I could see how it could be very stretched out for you know, ordering and stuff. But we're gonna do our best to get something firmed up here. And so yeah, I wish I had more to say on that, but
Okay.
that's kind of where we're at. So
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
both for the comment.
you bet, you bet. But with that, I'm kind of done with my report. Does anybody have any other questions? Not, we can move on to the next agenda item.
Okay. One thing, Manny, Nick Shannon is a little park kind of up on the hill off of Valley View, and it's scheduled to have a new playground installed. There is one there now, and we did an outreach to the community and got a lot of input on what they wanted, and we can show you all that data. So that's what Nick Shannon is. Yeah. Sure.
I also had a question. This is Gabrielle Blaug, the counselor. I noticed that there's some erosion going on in Cross Park. Have you guys looked at that? And is there maybe a plan to address some of the issues after the flood? That lower pathway down there pulled down a bunch of that bank, and there's a bunch of rock and stuff that's kind of over there.
I do think we've looked at it. I know that if it's something that, yeah, I'll mention it to my supervisor tomorrow. And I know he's really aware of that stuff. So that's something that we might be doing with Eric's group with some of the planting and rehab. We'll talk about it more, but thanks for bringing that to our attention. But I haven't heard anything, but I'm sure that the supervisor, they've done a pretty good assessment of the park. So we'll be looking more into it. Thank you.
And follow up on that, I think I walked down there a lot too, but I just noticed even on the bank, the rocky bank, that a lot of the dirt from around those huge boulders is gone, and it's concerning that we're gonna keep losing bank. So I don't know. Also, if you're on the Oregon City side and you're looking back onto Gladstone, just that whole bank along there, it's losing trees. And I don't know. And I'm sure Eric can address this with us, but just that thought of starting some baby plants or baby trees to replace those cottonwoods. I don't know if that's even a good idea.
No, I know that's the plan, Nancy, is, you know, again, the supervisor, he's very, very cognizant of that and wants to make that happen. So it's definitely on our radar. But, you know, as far as erosion, I haven't really looked at it that deeply, but I'll talk to him more about it tomorrow and we'll look more into it. But it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was a tremendous amount of water that came through there. And I know the rest of the Clackamas was hit pretty significantly too, upstream and whatnot. So Doll Beach is kind of the same. Some of the trails down there got washed pretty good. So, but we'll definitely look into it. And if it's something we need to get more of an expert into, or if there's something we can do about those boulders, we'll do our best to look at it and try to come up with a plan if there's anything we can do. Yeah, fair.
This is Eric. I will say too, from experience, that working in the water, things like riprap, slope stabilization, stuff like that, anything that's touching the water gets into very complicated permitting very quickly. So that's something where the dollars or a lot of zeros start attaching themselves to the end of that dollar figure.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that because it's quite true. So.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. So now we're to the business from the board. Just as a little, planning for small, we've talked a lot about small projects that we can kind of slip in amongst our bigger projects such as the trail and the bathroom and some things down at Meldrum. So, a couple of them that keep coming back up repeatedly. One is the Robin Hood Park, getting some kind of some tree and shade up there. I don't know if people have been up there. It's a pretty barren park
Yeah.
that gets really parched in the summer because there's no water to the park and no shade. So I don't know. So that's one of our little projects that we've talked about. The other one is now that the paved trail is in at the nature park. I know one spot, there was kind of a bump out made for a bench. That was one of them. And then a couple of people who walk their dogs suggested that a dog waste station be put kind of in that central part, because that's about where their dog has to go to the bathroom. So, so I don't know, those are a couple. So if anyone has questions about those, please now, or thoughts, or if you have other little projects that you've seen around the city that you think would fit in there, now's the time to bring them up.
I've got a question. We're a tree city now. Is that correct? So we have a list of approved types of trees, and I'm sure that the committee would even suggest where those certain types of trees would go. And I would just think that if you looked at Robin Hood Park, you could say, oh, right here, we're going to plant maybe a maple tree because it's a little faster growing than an oak, and we could get some shade. Can volunteers do that? I mean, could the city make the purchase of the tree and then volunteers do it? So
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the policy is. I don't have a problem with it as long as we follow the city's policy on volunteers. But trees, I'm totally open to the discussion, especially at Robin Hood. And I know that again, the parks supervisor is all on board. It's just budgeting for them and getting trees. I think the last batch that we bought, we spent, what did we spend? About $900, and we got 8 trees. So they're fairly mature trees, but just making sure that we've got that in the budget, and then planting them. We need to be fairly strategic and make sure that we plant them. And this is the best time right now, this time of year. So I'll talk to Brett and see if we can make something happen here. Maybe 1 or 2 at least this year. If not, it might be something that we want to wait until, it's that ideal time again to make sure that they have the best chance of getting in. But definitely, we'll talk to him and see if we can do something at that park for sure.
yeah.
As far as Tree City, I mean, yeah, it's about planting trees, but it's about maintaining the trees we have too, and then also education to homeowners and just about trees in general. So a lot of it has to do with pruning and making sure that we're doing that annually and things. So, but no, I'm definitely both those projects, Nancy, I'll put them on our to-do list. The dog waste station, I think we'll try to get that done sooner than later. The bench, again, might be a little big of a purchase, and then all the foundation that goes with it. But the crews can do it, and I know they like that kind of work. So we'll just look and see if we can get it in our budget and make something happen. But I think the dog station we can probably get rolling soon, because I don't even know if that park has one at one end.
It's one at Oatfield and
That's
one
right.
at Webster.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just am seeing a lot of people kind of at that crossroads
Sure.
as they walk their dogs around and around. So I don't know. Do people? I don't know. I
Well-
don't have a dog. I'm looking to you guys. I'm looking
I-
at people who have dogs.
This is Bruce. I'll chime in. I have a dog, as probably witnessed in the last videos and pictures that the city had thrown up on a website, and at any rate, I would just say that it was really great that these dog stations got put in at either end of the original loop trail. I would think most people would know to grab some bags with them, and they can carry it that far to the garbage can, if you would. But if you're going to put in a dog poop station with a small cylinder to put the refuse in, it kind of brings me to the David M. Scott Park, because back in October we had asked the question about why that park doesn't have one, and there was some people in the community that had spoke out against. It was kind of a combined package: signage for the park, a bench, and then a dog poop station. I think the board had to rescind what we originally had agreed on, just to get the signage, because that was something that was promised to the family. Um, and then the sign actually went in a weird place, in my opinion. Um, but I'm going to go a little further and say the fact that there's no poop station there is not a good idea. And I think the only opposition to it was that they felt, these community members felt that people would bring their garbage from home and deposit it into that waste can. So I really think that's a weak response. And the idea that you have disc golfers that come through the school there and they all have dogs. I observe it daily. There's cans and bottles, and they sometimes don't make it. I'm just going to suggest that if neighbors walk there too and they're responsible, they might actually pick up garbage and toss it into a convenient garbage can. But the convenient garbage can is next to the school across the field from the park. So it's not really convenient. And by the way, the school gets all the dog poop. You just go over to the can, lift it up, So I think we would be very responsible to have a poop station at that park. So when people enter it, they can grab a bag, and if their dog goes to the bathroom, they can pick it up and deposit it into a can that the city will swing by and pick up on just the regular routines when they're maintaining that park.
I'll talk more to the administrator about it, Bruce.
Okay.
Can't speak to it right now, but I kind of felt like the matter was closed. But I'll talk again and see if there's any other room for discussion about it.
I guess I never heard a report back. We were gonna.
Yeah, I did look into it, and was basically told that the matter was closed. But I'll check again. I'll get back to you in February,
Okay.
if not sooner.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
This is Nancy again. One of the other goals that we had for our strategic goals was the fire risk for the parks. And that we were going to look into that. And then Clackamas Fire has stepped up and is doing that evaluation apparently. So I just kind of wanted it on record that at some point we would like to have some sort of an update from them on what they're finding, if they've done it yet or something, since it is one of the goals we have for this next
Right.
year.
I think last I heard was the discussion just started, so I don't have any updates, but I will talk to the administrator again and just see if there's any movement. I know that they're planning on doing it. I just don't know where they're at in the process.
Okay, so okay, let me ask this question. How is that discussion, where is that discussion had? Is it with Clackamas Fire in a meeting with them on an administrative level, or is it a community-based discussion?
No, it's just the first point that you mentioned. It's
Okay.
between the administration and Clackamas Fire. I mean, right now, from what I know, they're just kind of settling out how this is going to work, the transition. So we're just kind of becoming that true partnership and engaging with them. So again, it's been kind of like we have this need, and Clackamas Fire has said, yeah, we can do that. I'm dumbing it down, obviously, but that's the way I've kind of interpreted it. Administrator Betts would have a much better handle on that, but I'll ask and get some more talking points and bring it back to you for sure
Okay.
in February.
Great. There's one other question that I have, and I would like to kind of do it in this section. I know we have, if that's okay, we have a pay station at Meldrum, correct? That functions most of the time, right? When I went back, I tried to kind of do a search back to when that whole process went through as to what was the if there was a stipulation placed on the funds that were taken in from that pay station. Like, was it only to be used for certain items? Like, is it only for capital development? Is it only for general maintenance? You know, what was the intent of that funding? And the reason I'm asking that is in looking for funding to do a dog park, we seem to be struggling to find, because a lot of grants don't support dog parks. So I'm questioning whether that might fall into a pot of money that we could use some of that to help support a dog park. And I'm looking at the eyes coming at me. Because I've heard a couple of different statements that it was just for capital development or it was just for maintenance. And so I couldn't find that in records when I looked back into those years. So I didn't know if anyone knows that. Or
I don't, but I'll research it and get back to you. I don't know. I do know that it is functioning. I'm not even sure how much money the city makes every year. I knew the amount at one time, and it escapes me right now. But I'll definitely look into it, Nancy.
yeah, because they used to publicize that in the newsletter a lot, and it hasn't been. And I'm sure it's just so I'm sure it's just because they need room for other things in the newsletter. But okay, that would be helpful because I think we need to kind of start looking at different ways to cobble together some funding for a dog park, and that could be a small part of that.
And I think a figure, because I know what Nancy's talking about, we used to have it publicized. And I was on the board at the time when we talked about how to come up with money for capital improvements for the parks. And that was one of the keys that we thought would work. And we put it in, there was some expense to it that was maybe more than we were led to believe to begin with. And I know that there was maybe some disappointment that we weren't going to make 250,000 off of it a year, but it is paying for itself based on the last records that I ever saw published. And I think that figure was somewhere between $80,000 to $100,000 a year, which seems to me if you saved up for a couple of years, you'd have a dog park. And maybe that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm
funding?
kind of looking for pots of money
Yeah.
is what I'm looking for.
So it'd be nice that we understood how much money was coming in from
And
that,
yeah.
that gate, and where it's going.
Yeah, what the intent was for that fund. So I either keep looking or I look a lot less.
I'm happy to get that information for you guys put
Okay.
together because we do have it
Uh-huh.
documented when it was accepted.
Right.
And there's clear guidance on what the money is utilized for. With the concession of what Bruce brought up about it not hitting the $250,000 mark.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
But I'm happy to get that for you together.
Okay. Thank you.
On that note, I would just like to thank the city for switching over to the annual permit system for residents and give a plug that if you do not already have one, you should get one. And now they're just sending them out in January, so everybody gets their new one. I just put mine in my car today.
It's so nice. I agree.
That's a kudos to the new finance director. Kudos to Judy.
Those are like gold at my house. So, all right. Any other business from the park that people just kind of want an update on or have concerns about before we move on? Clarification? Okay. Forecasting for the future. Funding for the city is a 2-year process. And we're just now starting into our second year. So the goals that we have, this is our last year to get those completed. So towards the middle to the end of this year, we're going to be setting up goals for the next 2-year period. So there's some things that just kind of keep bubbling up that we can't afford to do now, but might be good to put on the next one. So it's good to start thinking ahead on what those might be. There's a couple of things, a toddler, looking to see what a toddler play area at Patterson would look like, if we could get a small toddler, because that's kind of a preschool up facility, and there's so many families that go there. That might be a good place to do that. I think also another idea that keeps bubbling up is doing signage at the parks with numbers for people to call if they have concerns about what's going on in the park right at the moment. Like, if there's an issue, who do you call? And the number's right there, so people don't have to look it up on the website or try and remember it. So I'm kind of opening it up, and I'm going to start my list here to keep track during the year. So if you have some ideas, now's a good time to kind of start asking about them or just problem solving our way through them. Like somebody said, I've noticed this, what do you think? So anything off the top of heads?
This is Eric. One, I've been having some conversations with Brett, the Parks and Rec supervisor, about recently is doing kind of a bigger sort of habitat restoration project covering a lot of Meldrum. That would be something where it would likely be kind of the funding, or the what's proposed there would likely be grant funded, and so you'd essentially kind of write some money to do that. And so, well, we'll see where that goes, but that's something that I think a lot of people like to see in the longer term. At the very least, kind of controlling some of the ivy and hauling other weeds there, and kind of sprucing things up, and kind of combining that with some managing some of the erosion issues with the RC and mountain bike tracks and other issues like that.
If the Max Patterson reservation system is working well, do we want to try and extend it to any other parks? But that would be more of a, I guess, seeking community input if there are any conflicts that are popping up over space. And I'm curious with if do we have a Friends of Meldrum Bar organization? Just Nature Park?
We don't have a formal one, but there's a lot of user groups down there that might be able to be marshaled. But what are you thinking?
That, in my experience, those are the groups that really like to see that help see through long-term restoration stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, off of Ian's suggestion, it's a good one. Maybe we, as the park board, should support or promote that kind of a program, to find advocates, or friends of Meldrum. Get something going there.
Thoughts on that?
Kim's up for it.
Yeah. I think I think it's a good, go ahead, Eric.
So Eric, I was going to say that it often works, that kind of thing works well when maybe someone like the Parks Board gives it sort of that first push, but it really needs to kind of be organic to be sustainable.
Yeah, Meldrum has such unique needs right now, so it would have to be a pretty solid group. Yeah. So, but I think it's a good idea to think about. And I've got it written down.
This is Bruce. Should we delve into, I'm thinking of Meldrum again, but a park host being the largest park in the system, and the one that tends to have a lot of the problems, but it has a lot of the activities. And we've talked about that before, park host and what that might look like. Maybe we look at it again.
Got it. Okay. Anything else on just, so kind of start keeping those ideas unless someone else has another one to share right now, but kind of think as you're wandering through the parks during the next few months, think, oh, this would be a good upgrade here or a good thing to talk about. So, um, the next one is, Metro will be coming to our February meeting, to talk with us. And because right now we have one big Metro grant going right now, the parks, the local share, which is giving us the bathroom and the shelter at the nature park. Silas, was there any kind of an indication with the schematics on what a ballpark cost is going to be for that?
Or the
Shelter in the
sorry,
bathroom?
this is Silas.
Are you seeing anything like that yet?
No, I think the bathroom itself is over 150,000
Okay.
just to purchase the bathroom.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I saw a rough. So I think budgeted we have, or in the grant, we have over 400.
When I went back, is the grant not over 800,000?
Is it 800? I can't remember.
I think it's 850.
Is that what, Kristen, do you have that in front of you? Can you pull that
I
line?
don't think that one, our budget that we have doesn't show the grant funds on it.
Oh, okay.
Separated out.
Because I know we had thought we could do those two and then have some money left over that was kind of targeted down there for for Meldrum. But anyway, so we have that pot of money.
I don't know if you can use the money for anything else. I don't know what all the rules are for the actual grants.
Well, Gladstone gets 850. And we went through all of that, and the shelter and the bathroom were part of it, but then leftover, we had kind of targeted to do either handicapping accessibility in some of the other parks, getting some access, or perhaps another shelter or something down at Meldrum. But it was all dependent on how much the shelter and the bathroom cost to what we had left over. So
Okay.
anyway, okay. So I'm not sure what Metro is coming, if they're coming to talk to us about that,
No, they're coming to talk about the community grant.
the community choice grant.
Yeah, community choice grants. And what I just heard, I'm sorry, I'm getting all these texts on other things. I apologize, but I got an email, or excuse me, a text right before. They're gonna bring food. So yeah, they'll be bringing food. It should be at the 9th meeting. So I was asked to mention they will provide food. I believe, and I don't know the details of what they'll be talking about.
Okay.
If it's specific just to like the overall process and how it works. And then I'm assuming that they'll talk a little bit about what's still in the running for Gladstone.
Okay.
But I haven't heard anything, but that's kind of what the
Okay.
discussion.
I thought that's probably what they were going to talk about. But after a while, when you get so many Metro grants going, it's like, okay, which one are we talking about? So, it's confusing. So anyway, they're going to be here in February. So I highly encourage people to be here to hear that. Because right now I think there's like 4 or 5 projects still in the running for Gladstone.
Correct.
They'll be coming up for a vote. So somehow we have to marshal people. Because one of them is a big grant for down at Meldrum. So that would be helpful. Let's see, next. It's always good for the advisory board members to have a moment to kind of just say what they're seeing about the parks, if they have any accolades or supportive comments. Now's a good time.
I can start, Kate. I thank you for including the pictures of the work that they're doing post flooding, because I think that really helps us to see what that looked like and how many people were involved with that. I think the parks are looking shockingly well, considering what happened. I second Councillor Blog on what about some of that erosion and damage that's happened down at Cross and Ames, because that's where I run most days. And it seems a little concerning. But as long as it's structurally sound, then all is okay, and we can look at that in the long term. But yeah, thank you for all of the extra work that came along with that.
This is Eric. Walking around a lot of the natural areas, the energy and the enthusiasm and the hard work that Brett and his team are putting into getting a lot of these areas looking nicer, clearing blackberries, spreading mulch, planting. It fills my heart with joy to see how much is happening with the city right now and how much investment they're putting in. It makes me really happy to see, and I'm very excited to keep working with them on that.
I just like to add in on the joy. The nature park, I liked it in the rough stage, and I was not really looking forward to the paved path, but I think it was managed very well. It turned out very nice, and I think it's bringing even that many more people in the park to enjoy it. So, well done. You know.
Manuel here. I saw the work that you guys did right near the garden, which is clearing out the berries. That was really nice. Well done. And looking forward to see what else we can do in that area. It'll be nice.
Yeah, they will be doing more. So I just talked to Brett about that this morning. So next year spot there, they'll be doing some more thinning and taking care of invasives and such. So thank you for that.
Anyone else? Okay, I just want to second. I'm really pleased with the reservations at Patterson. I think that's a huge improvement. And yeah, I think that's great that we have a little more control there instead of just utter chaos where people showing up at 5 a.m. to save a spot. So I think that's a better use of the park. Anyway, I'm also, like everyone else, pretty excited to watch these changes. They're small, but if you walk someplace consistently, all of a sudden you turn a corner and it's like, oh, those ugly bushes are gone. I know Brett's going to put something in there pretty cool. So I know the crews are excited about it. You can kind of see, I know some of them have talked about some of these projects for years and years and years, and now they're getting to do them. So I think that feels good from an employee standpoint, but it also, as a community member, it shows that the city's taking pride. And hopefully that will trickle down to other people taking pride in taking care of our parks. So, and again, the paved loop trail up there is awesome. I've talked to a couple people with some mobility issues and they're pretty darned excited about it. So yeah, it's done what we intended it to do, and that's cool. So, thank you.
Well, thank you for your guys' vision, because as the mayor said, I think it started years ago. So kudos to you all, and thank you all. I'll take all that feedback to the crew. They love hearing that. Some of them are probably listening tonight, so I appreciate it. And we'll just keep doing the best we can to make improvements. So appreciate it.
Yeah, and I really appreciated being included in some of those meetings, getting to watch the process that they went through and the care that they gave to each one of the details in that trail. It really paid off, but it was interesting to be part of that, and I want to thank you for that opportunity. So even at 7 a.m, thank you. All right. So is there anything else from anyone? Our next, and is there anything from the audience, Kristen?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Our next meeting will be February 9th. And again, Metro's going to be here, so everybody put it on their calendars. And at this point, if I had a motion to adjourn this meeting.
This is Eric. I move that we adjourn.
We have a motion by Eric to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
This is Bruce. We have a second.
Okay, Kristen, would you call the roll for me? Thank you.
Kate Cornelius.
Yes.
Kim Agramson.
Yes.
Eric Butler.
Yes.
Nancy Turner.
Yes.
Bruce Hildreth.
Yes.
Manuel Pachenko.
Yes.
And Ian Moore.
Yes.
Okay, our meeting is adjourned.